I just had a super beautiful encounter. I was on the way home from yoga and it was like the first day being active again after the big party weekend. And there were people playing music in the park. So I kind of got closer because it was like spiritual music. I was like, yes, spirit, bring love and light back into my soul. And so I really felt attracted to the music. So I start getting closer, and then I see that there are benches. I was like, I don't have much energy, so I didn't feel like dancing. I just wanted to sit down. And then but I saw that the benches were wet, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna sit on them. But then there was a lady who got closer to me and she was like, can I sit on the bench? Like, and I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And then, because she was wearing a big rain poncho, she removed it to sit on it because the bench was wet. And then she was like, do you want to sit on my poncho as well? Because it's really big, there's enough room for two. So it was really sweet. So I sat down next to her, and every now and then she would like ask me a question. And so I felt like, yeah, she was in the mood to talk. And then we ended up like getting into such a beautiful conversation. She she used to play music, like play the guitar and sing, and so she would tell me about like performing in the street and everything. And it's just like, I don't know, so beautiful to talk about like music and dance and art in general and how it makes you feel to perform and like the anxiety sometimes that come with it and maybe the low you're going through afterwards and how to handle it, like different tips and tricks. Like she'd tell me like she would take a bath afterwards, and that really helped her like reconnect to her body. Like I thought that was so beautiful. Like and yeah, and then I was telling her that I moved to Berlin to pursue dance, and that it took a while before I could like lose myself in the dance because I was so used to like dancing freely. So taking dance classes, I think it took about 5 months before I got into the flow, and also that every like different like dance type is like learning another language. And in the beginning I was so focused on the technique and everything that I couldn't even hear the music. I think it took 4.5 months for me for the first time to hear the music, even though there's always music playing when we're dancing. And yeah, and but now I'm so happy that I pushed through, because at first it was not necessarily enjoyable, but now I feel like I integrated like the technique enough to be able to lose myself in the flow, and it's such a beautiful feeling. um, I love it because I don't know, it's just so satisfying. It makes me really happy, and I'm so happy I pushed through because, as I said, it took a while to get there, and at first it was not necessarily enjoyable. So it's worth it sometimes to hold on to something. But I knew it was going to end up being good because I love dancing so much, and now it's like l'appétit vient en mangeant. It's like the more I eat, the more my appetite gets bigger. And I love it more and more. And my love for dance grows like stronger every day, every time I dance. And it's so beautiful. And I'm so happy that I'm finally at this point in my life where I dare to follow this dream that I had for such a long time. I think it's the oldest dream I had. Like, I pretty much dance since I can stand, but I was always very shy. So I would always dance like, I don't know, in the living room where no one would see it, and like lock the door, or in my room. So like even my father was like, "You dancing? That's new to me." And I was like, "Are you serious? Like I dance since I can stand." But it's just like loads of people didn't know about it because I was very shy about it, and I could only dance for myself. And yeah, and I used to really dislike dance classes when I was younger. But thanks God I had this beautiful encounter, and I told her about it, that made me change my mind. Like one day I really gathered like all my courage and went to the park in Brussels, and there was like this wooden platform and I was dancing on it. And first I was like super shy, like just already getting on the platform felt like getting on stage. I was kind of like slowly approaching it, and then I was like starting to move, but make like really slow, like really tiny movements. And then with time, they would get bigger and bigger, and then like I don't know, the music just I don't know, took me with it, and then I lost myself in the flow, and it was beautiful. And I started like integrating the wind and the birds that would fly away. And it was just so nice. And it started raining after a while, but I just kept going because I was so in it. And then there was like someone standing on the pavilion and was watching me. And then afterwards, when I was like done, he was like, oh, it was such a pleasure watching you, he told me. It was like so graceful how you moved. And then he said, you know what's funny? I've always wondered what this wooden platform is for. Like, no one ever uses it. And it's like really nice, like, to see someone on it. And then he's also said that he always comes to this park to play la pétanque, but usually he doesn't walk that way. But he saw me from afar, and he was wondering what I was doing, so he felt like attracted, like he had to come closer and look. And then he was just like, I don't know, so happy and really like enjoying the show. And it was so beautiful. And he even gave me like a mandarin, which I thought was so beautiful. I was like, oh, that it felt so good. I was so happy about it. It felt like getting like a first form of like, I don't know, payment or recognition, which was beautiful, like receiving something in exchange. And a fruit, I mean, the fruit is so beautiful. So I was really happy about it. And then also, I told him, yeah, that I dislike dance classes and everything because he wanted to know more a bit about my dance education and background and everything. And then he actually recommended me. So I felt like the universe sent him. I felt like it was like an angel, like giving me the green light. And he was like, oh, but if you learn technique, actually, I understand that you want to dance freely and do whatever feels right to you, but if you learn technique, you'll have even more range of movement and even more freedom, even a bigger toolbox to explore with. And I was like, yeah. So that's not how I expressed it, but that was the idea. And I was like, yeah, he's got them right. And yeah, that was actually really beautiful advice. And another thing he said, so that made me change my mind about dance classes and actual training. And another thing he said that was really beautiful was he was like, so when you'll have your first like professional performance, please come to the park. I'm always up there playing la pétanque, like I do this for years now. Find me and invite me to your first performance. I would love to watch you perform, even if it's like in 3 or 4 years or whatever. And that really moved me. That really made me so happy. I hope I will recognize him once I'll have my first like real performance, because I already had like my first, I mean the first performance, but like from like training, like basically from my education. And yeah, that was also quite an experience that I shared with this lady. I was like, it was challenging. I was like, okay, how do I learn to navigate like this moment after a performance, because there's like this whole build up. Basically, like we had training, like rehearsals 8 days in a row without a break. So you're like always surrounded by the group, you're like very exhausted, and then you have the performance. So you reach this peak of, it's like a high, like I don't know, like all those hormones in your head. And it's like, it's just like, wow. And then it's just like, you're like up there. And then afterwards, like everyone's like, I don't know, like giving you compliments, hugging you, some are giving you gifts. It's like beautiful. So you're really like up there. And then you get home and it feels like you're free falling and you just like hit the ground. And then suddenly like training was over and there was like nothing. So there's like no more like dance training, no more seeing the people all the time, no more performance. Suddenly I was at home by myself and I couldn't handle this transition. And yeah, I really felt such a big void. And I think it took like, I think maybe about 10 days or even more, like 2 weeks, for me to like get over it. I was really feeling low, so I was like, okay, I have to learn that, because I can't free fall after each performance. So we'll see. I'll try to come up with ideas beforehand for before I have my next performance in March. um, yeah, and then I had my very first audition, which was really nice as well. um, I was like, I think 1 or 2 weeks after the performance, and I was like still very exhausted. I remember I just got my period and I had the worst cramps, and I was like, oh my goodness, how am I supposed to do an audition? It was my very first audition. I was also a bit nervous about it, even though I was handling it quite well. It was like a 6 hours audition, and 2 days before I did my audition videos, I was already dancing for like 3 hours. I was already quite exhausted. And then so I made my first audition video, and then I had my audition. It was like, yeah, 6 hours audition. So basically, I had to take a whole day of classes. So we started with like an hour and a half of outdoor training, then an hour and a half of ballet, then an hour and a half of modern dance, which I loved. I think modern is my favorite, is the one I connect with the most. And then we finished with contemporary dance. And I must say, at the end of the day, I was like, I was exhausted. I was so drained. Oh my goodness. And yeah, but it was a beautiful experience. I loved the school, and I was like, yeah, I really want to get into the program. It's like a 7 month and 7 months intensive dance program. And yeah, yeah. But what was a bit challenging during the audition is like this. So for the outdoor training, they didn't look at what we were doing, so it wasn't part of the audition. It was just kind of like a warm up. But then we started basically the audition with ballet, and ballet is like the thing I've learned for the shortest period of time, but it's the hardest language to learn. So it was a very overwhelming, because also the auditioning was like basically with the first year of like the full-time education, but that means they already have a full year of training behind them. And also it's end of the year, so the rhythm is really fast. They already know the phrases and everything, so there's no more breaking down. Just get thrown into it and just figure it out. And I was like, what's going on? Oh my goodness. And I felt like so, oh, like, what's the word? Not graceful at all. I felt so clumsy, so like I was kind of like moving awkwardly, and I was like, oh no. I felt like at the bar I was still doing fine, but once we got in the middle, I was like, oh no, help! What is this? But yeah, so it was funny, and yeah, and now on Monday, so like, why do we? So in 6 days, I'm starting this new program, and what's really nice is like 10 minutes walk from where I live. What kind of luxury is that? Like, I mean, I live in a really big city. I live in Berlin, so it's like 10 minutes walk. It's like, it feels like the countryside. That's such a luxury. I'm really happy about that, and yeah, like I love the place. It's like an old like industry, so it has this really high ceiling, which is very nice because it feels like the room breathes. Or it's breathing, but you know what I mean. It's like lots of space, lots of air. You don't feel like trapped. And also they have these really big windows, so it's like bathing in lights, which is so beautiful. It is so nice. And the classes were very like dynamic, which I really loved. It's like, I don't know, the music was loud and I really liked the music, and I don't know. And the teachers were really nice as well. So I'm very happy. Overall, I have an amazing feeling about it. So I'm really excited for this next chapter. Yeah. I'm so happy that I'm like finally doing it. Like sometimes I still can't believe it. Like I don't know. This is like this summer during like the festival, like there were moments like I was dancing and I lost myself on the flow and I just felt so connected to the universe and the divine and I was like, I can't believe it that I finally like made it and it makes me so happy and it feels so right and I'm like thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so happy I pushed through. I'm so happy like I finally gathered like the self-confidence and the inner strength to pursue it, to dare dancing. And what's just funny is how this happened. So before like the encounter with this guy in the park, is that I was actually at home and I was like feeling a bit like bitter, a bit sad because so my brother he got like a girlfriend and she's a professional dancer. So for me it felt a bit painful because she was living under the same roof as us. And so it's kind of like someone was like living my dream under my eyes, but a dream that I never dared um to admit that it was a dream because the first step was like just to be like admitting, yeah, this is what I want, because it was easier to hide behind like excuse and be like, oh no, I actually don't want to do this. So that was too easy. So his first step was really like admitting this is my dream and then finding the courage to pursue it. So it was like different steps I went through and yeah, and then I was like it was a bit painful and then I realized okay, instead of like feeling sad about it, I was like maybe this is your sign to actually do something about it. Like if it makes you feel like this, then maybe you should just start training. And then I just started like taking like random classes, one class there in Brussels. Like this is where I'm from. And then after a while, it's like I was taking loads of different classes, and I was like actually felt the need to have like one program so that everything it's kind of like working together and not just like randomly. So yeah, then I looked it up because I saw like Instagram story, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that existed. It was like, oh, there's like dance intensives. And so I looked it up, and the first one I found, I just went for it. Also, it was very convenient. There was no audition. I think at this point, it was a good start because, yeah, I think an audition would have been like a big hurdle for me. So it's nice because then I could go like step by step into it, and it was in Berlin, and I was like, amazing. Like, I'm part German. I've always wanted to live in Germany. Let's go. This is my sign. And then I just signed up for it. And then there I was a couple months later, like starting my first intensive. Yeah. And I'm so happy I pushed through because at some point I remember I was like, oh no, I don't think this is actually for me. I was a bit unhappy. So I wrote them an email saying that I want to quit. And then after, and what's funny is I think it removed so much pressure because there was like a cancellation period of 1 month. So during this time, she was like, the teacher was like, do you still want to come to training or do you just want to leave now? I was like, nah, I already paid for it. I'll come for the last month. And then I was still going, but I think since I quit, it changed something in my brain. I think it just removed so much pressure because there was nothing like nothing I play anymore. Like it was just like, well, now I'm just doing it just to do it. So then it changed my perspective on it, and then suddenly it started becoming fun. I started enjoying myself, and I started improving after I think 2.5, 3 months. So then I was like, hey, can I cancel my cancellation? It's just like, yeah, sure. So I ended up staying, and I'm so happy I did because look at me a couple months later, super happy. Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well. I'm so happy actually I shared this just even for myself later on, so I can look back at it and be like, oh, this is where we're coming from. This is the journey so far. Yeah, it feels amazing. It really inspired me to share it because I shared it earlier with someone, like a stranger in the park, and it felt really nice to remember this whole process and this whole journey, and it just lit up my heart and made me really happy. So I wanted to capture this. That's it.